So the question is, a patient who's on our existing dementia medicines, Namenda, and hopefully in combination with either Aricept or Exelon or Remenil, and they've been taking this combination for months, years, and the family says, when should we stop? Is it time to stop? Maybe they've gotten a nudge from the pharmacy or a nudge from another doctor. So it's a tricky question because we don't have data on it. My simple answer is I recommend the medicine be stopped when it's no longer meaningful. And I'd say the same thing in other disease states like depression. It's fascinating to me how in primary care, if someone's diagnosed with hypertension and the primary care doctor writes for an antihypertensive, how it's presumed or assumed that they'll now take this medicine the rest of their days. Although we know that sometimes people with maybe mild or moderate hypertension, they make some significant lifestyle changes, they lose weight, they exercise, their blood pressure tracks down, and they can challenge off the medicine, and the provider might say, okay. But with dementia, it's a different ballgame. So this is all we have. All we have with the last new medicine being 2003. And if I'm doing my math right, that's a 13-year drought. Christmas of this year, we'll see the final unveiling, the envelope, please, for solamezumab. I always massacre that. It's a Lilly dementia drug that they've spent $5 billion, 7 years of trials, and they've had 2 failures. So they're praying that this trial will have some signal, and if it doesn't, that's going to send a ripple through the industry. So this is all we have. If you look at the studies, they'll go out 2-3 years with these medicines, but there's one study that goes a lot longer. It's all we have. I believe, not only from what the medical literature and evidence presents, but actually in equal measures from what I see in the patient and what the family reports, that these medicines do have a benefit. Not so much with cognition, some with activities of daily living, but I really believe they have a benefit in terms of the behavioral part. So when to stop? So no longer meaningful. The family says, we're getting this nudge. It's expensive. There's an expense. I live in the real world. So they stop it. And my experience has kind of gone 2 ways. The family stops it. After they say they're going to stop it, they hear me out, but they stop it. And one way is I get a call 8 weeks later, 4 months later, maybe we should restart this because we're seeing X, typically behavior. And then I don't get calls, so I guess it's no longer meaningful. And then the last piece to this is the story. You've heard it before, and it's just a story. It's just one patient taking care of a very nice lady through the whole piece, mild, moderate, severe, then end stage, and she began to scream and appeared to be in great agony. So the team went through the usual ritual. Does she have physical pain? Treated her with anti-inflammatories, with opiates. Nothing changed. I neglected to say. So she's in end stage. The family said stop all medicine. She was on combination therapy. She continued to scream, so she's in pain. Rigorous workup, no source of pain. Nevertheless, they treated her with opioids, with anti-inflammatories. Nothing. Tried psychiatric medicines, antipsychotics. Nothing. Benzodiazepines. So finally, they put her back on Namenda, just Namenda, and she stopped screaming. Maybe she would have stopped screaming if they waited another day. And then she lived, I think, about another 3 weeks longer. So was that Namenda? Was it meaningful? I don't know. It's just an N of one, but it sticks in my mind for whatever that was. And it's not fair to use that. But I guess my answer is, when do you stop? When it's no longer meaningful. And I think I probably certainly think about stopping when we talk about end-stage dementia, and you know the definition of that. So they're fully dependent for the basic activities of daily life: dressing, feeding, eating, grooming, toileting, fully dependent. They're duly incontinent of bowel and bladder. They don't produce more than 6 words a day, and then they have one of several physical pieces: recurrent UTIs, pneumonia, sepsis, a stage 3 or stage 4 decubiti. Their albumin's less than 2.5. They've lost more than 10% of their weight in the last month. So those folks we think are end stage, and that's when you certainly change the conversation to palliative care and hospice care, and stop. Certainly think about stopping medicines. So